do its thing. Gonna getting that. Aloha guys, we are gonna be making a hanao piece, and I'm gonna walk you through the beginning part of that process. So we're actually gonna start with some color. So this is color bar, and it came from a larger rod that we broke up into manageable pieces. And we're gonna be using those along with some of these other colors as part of the entire piece. So we're actually gonna take this and wrap clear glass around it, kind of like this picture right over here. You can see all the clear, all up in here. And then we're gonna get it hot, and we're gonna stretch it out like this. So kind of like all these markers, we're just gonna stretch it all out. And then we're gonna take them in this step, and we're gonna cut them up into little sections, and then we're gonna bundle them together, kind of like that. In this photo, you can see us holding it together with some wire. Once we have it together, we're gonna heat it up, squeeze all these little air pockets out. You can see between each cane is an air pocket, and we need to squeeze those out. So we're gonna heat it up, squeeze those out, and then pull and stretch it into a long rod like this. And if you look at it from the side, you'll be seeing all the streaks of color, just like the cane over here. But if you look at it from the top, the cross section, you'll see that it still has the same pattern as the bundle, yet it's gonna be a lot smaller. They're gonna be like this big. And these small little glass tiles will come from cutting up this larger Murrine rod. And so once we have all those little tiles, we're actually gonna use those for the patterning of the piece itself. So this is the first step in the process of making our hanao piece. We are in the hot shop, and we're gonna be pulling cane. To pull cane, we're gonna be using this stick, and we're gonna put a chunk of color on the top. We're gonna wrap it in clear, and then we're gonna stretch it out. So first, let's get some clear, and then we'll get the color on top of that. Now this is our little chunk of color. We're gonna form it and make it into a nice shape before we start to put even more clear glass on top of it, and then we'll stretch it. So we're rolling it on this steel table called the marver, and it's just shaping it up. So we're making it a little bit more of a cylinder now. It's almost there, you can see. We can hit the tip a little bit more, and we'll go reheat and continuously shape it on this marver until we get a nice shape, which we can then wrap the clear around. So now this is shaped up really nicely. We can start adding clear glass on the outside. So we're gonna go back into the furnace, grab some more. So while the glass is really hot and straight from the furnace, we're gonna go ahead and start shaping it around our color. We want it to be fairly even, with less clear on the front. This white is so stiff that if I don't have the clear at the front, as you'll see later, it's just gonna pull right off. So the setup is really important. So we're just letting it cool down now. It's about ready. If I go back and gather clear while it's still super hot on the core, it'll actually just fall right off the pipe. And so we have to make sure that the core is cool enough to then wrap the clear glass around before it heats up, and then I can get out of the furnace. So we have a little bit too much. So we'll just let gravity do its thing and take all of it off. Again, we got to keep that clear off of the tip. So just push it back with this tool. And then now we're gonna go for a reheat. We wanna keep it in this shape for now. But we're just gonna heat it up until the core starts to get moving again. Once the core is moving, when we squish it down, it's gonna squish the outside and inside evenly. So it's pretty much there. You can see like how it's moving. And now we're gonna go back to the marver and squish it down. Just lengthen it a little bit. So squish it down really slowly. So now it's a pretty good shape. We're just gonna put a little handle on the end so that when we pull it later, we have something to grab. So we're pulling the back end so that it doesn't pull from there. And then it might also pull from the front as well. So we're gonna dunk that in some water. Now the hottest part is just gonna be that little middle area, which we'll then stretch it from. So we're gonna go through this process a few times until the middle area is really hot and the front and the back are relatively cold. So we're gonna go for the big stretch on this heat. Right before we do that, we're gonna dunk the front in water so that it doesn't get too thin and we don't end up cutting it off when we hold it with our shears. Alright, so now we just have to stretch it out. Kind of let gravity do its thing, help us out here. And theoretically, if I got it hot enough, I could pull it like 50 feet until it's as thin as your hair. But that's not what we're going for. Now we just kind of have to hold it here until it cools down enough, until it's rigid, and then we're going to put it on this ladder made out of hardwood right below us. So it's kind of stuck on the pipe right now, but we're going to use cold tweezers, cold metal, to shock it, crack it just a little bit, and then we're gonna tap it and it's gonna break just like that. And so now this entire length is about like 1,000 degrees. We're just gonna wait for it to cool down a little bit before we start handling it and cutting it up. Okay, so this is our little cane box, which we use to cut up this cane. It's a high-speed steel tool bit. And then I have another one over here, and we're just gonna tap it together and it's gonna break it really nicely. And we have it set at 6 inches right now, which is usually what I do for our bundles. So, super easy. Now we just do that to the rest of the cane pole. And then so now, these will be ready to bundle up. We're gonna be adding a bunch of different colors to it, but it's all the same process of making the cane. Okay, come check this out. I can't open this all the way. I'm just gonna open it a little bit, so you're gonna have to peek inside. You'll be able to see what we're gonna do next. Okay, so we're gonna pick that up, and then we're gonna squish all the air out, get it hot, and just like the cane, how we stretched it out, we're gonna do the same thing, but instead of horizontal, now we're gonna do it vertical. Okay, so we're gonna grab some glass on the end of this pipe, and we need to make the diameter the same as that bundle. So I measured it beforehand, and it looks like we're only gonna need to gather glass once, and then we'll be able to go and pick it up. Okay, so we almost got it to the right shape and size. We're just gonna touch it up just a little bit. So I got it hot again. And we are a little too big. So just use these tools called the jacks to bring it down a little bit. And then we'll even that out, the front lip. Check our size once again. And we're a little too small now. So we'll go ahead and open it up a little. A little too big. Just right. So we have it hollow in here in the middle so that we can force all the air from the front of the bundle to the back before we actually pull it. Okay, so we just want to make sure that the hole is all the way through and there's no glass in front clogging the pipe. So we're good. We're just gonna get this a little bit colder, and then we're gonna heat just the lip so that when we go and attach it to the bundle, it'll stick really nicely. So now we're just heating the lip up. We want the back end to be nice and stable, while the front end to be a little bit more sticky so that it'll actually bind to the bundle when we touch the two together. So we use this torch, oxypropane torch, to really spot heat just the lip before we go for a short heat in the reheating chamber. That should be good. Okay, so now that we got the bundle over here, you can see it's bound by some wire. So we're gonna fuse the front together fully and then make sure the back is on good before we take off the wire. All right, so we'll join the front together. Make sure the rest of it is all tacked together so it doesn't fly out when I get rid of the wire. And then I'll go for the snip. There we go. So now that the front is fully fused and the sides are tacked down, the back's looking really good, it's not too cold, we're gonna work the air out. So remember how I showed you guys in the previous step when it was cold, all the little holes in between the canes of the bundle, all the air needs to be pushed out. So we're gonna start heating it from the front and marvering it on the steel table and basically pushing all of the air back through this blowpipe. All right, so we're gonna just roll it at an angle so that it's really steep in the front and pushing all the air back. Yeah. You can actually see, if you look deep inside of the bundle, you'll see these little spears, sharp spears with points deep inside, and those are actually the bubbles. And so that's where we know we have to work on next. And we'll keep heating it up until the core gets hot and we start forcing those bubbles back. And then we'll work our way all the way to the back before finally stretching it out, just like we did with the cane. Okay, now that we got it, most of the air squeezed out, there's a little bit in the back because we rushed it, but that'll be okay. Now what we need to do, again like the cane, is we need to cut a little handle. This little handle will be used for us to hold on to later. So now we have to keep this cold while getting the back end hot. So dipping it in water helps to keep it cold, and then when we put it back in the heat, it'll keep heating up the back end. So it's getting close, but we'll just use the torch to help it out, to start getting that back end, much harder than the front. Okay, so we're gonna pull it on this one. This will be the last quench for this thing. Grab our shears, stretch it out. So this part still got a little bit of heat and it's a little bigger, so I'm just gonna pull it just a little more, stretch that out so it's a nice even rod now. And so to break it off, we're gonna create the little constriction up here, and then now we just wait. We'll wait for it to cool down a little bit before we then knock it off and load it in our annealer so that it can come slowly down in temperature overnight. So it's pretty cold at this point. We're gonna go over there to the ladder and knock it off on top on some wood. Right there. So now we grab it with some Kevlar gloves, and then we'll put it in the oven. Okay, so that's gonna cool down overnight, and then we can actually cut it up from there. So click over here to see me cutting it up, and if I haven't done it yet, then click over here to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when that video does come out.